You know, they always do these brightness settings and they're like, oh, please adjust the slider until the thing on the left is barely visible. And like for it to be barely visible, it always needs to be like so damn dark. I don't want to play my games in the dark. Please adjust the slider until the dog and the cat are friends. Trick question. They already are. Yay. Too close, too close. Oh, now they're in love. All right, this is a little too much. Let's go friends. Adjust the slider until the number 5 becomes the number 9. Okay, there's a bunch of 9 in there. I guess this is the number 9. Could have been clever and gone with the other version. Please adjust the slider until you stop adjusting the slider. Which of the two made-up words below is most appealing to you? Okiboinkal or Scrumtush? Okiboinkal, Scrumtush. Okiboinkal, Scrumtush. Okiboinkal. Bit of a mouthful, right? Scrumtush. I guess I would say Scrumtush, but not like completely. I do kind of like Okiboinkal. Please don't adjust the slider. So tempting. You know what? I'm a good boy. I'm a good listener. Sure. Do you know what time it is right now? Yes. Is the time that it is right now the correct time? Yes. What is time anyway? Yes. Is there anything about yourself that you haven't told me? Yes. Help. No. Will you come back to visit me? Yes. Salut tout le monde, it's your boy, Lukael. Welcome back to the Stanley Parable. This is episode 4, so in the last episode I said that it was probably going to be the last episode unless there were still like a lot of things left for me to do in the game, and you guys came through in the comments, you let me know about a whole bunch of stuff that I have missed or that I haven't done yet, so I think there is enough for us to do one final episode today. Truly, this game has a lot more things to do than I expected originally. You would have to really dig around in order to find everything, so I feel fine just asking you guys for a little bit of help. I don't like when the hallway moves really quickly like that. So I am back once again in the tie and the suit. Honestly, I cannot wait for the end of this video where I can finally get this suit off, get this tie off, and you know what? At the end of this video, I'm even going to take my hat off for the very first time on the channel. So until then, let's get into some more weirdness and play some more of the Stanley Parable. Without any further ado, let's jump right in. So the first thing on our list is, I can't believe they did this, but if you do play the damn baby game for 4 hours, there actually is something that happens. And thankfully, you know, we have the internet at our disposal, and some people out there are crazy enough to really play this game for 4 hours. Like, I actually really admire these people who somehow lasted through 4 boring hours of just clicking this damn button to save the baby from the fire. But apparently something does happen at the end, and so we're going to be watching a video of someone doing it, because there ain't no damn way in hell that I'm doing that. So I want to say a big thank you to Caden, whose video I'm watching right now and reacting to. So let's see.
Back to the right, and if he reaches the fire, you fail. It's a very meaningful game, all about the desperation and tedium of endlessly confronting the demands of family life. I think the art world will really take notice. But of course, the message of the game only becomes clear once you've been playing it for about 4 hours. So why don't you give it 4 hours of play to make sure it's effective? Be sure to keep notes on your experience.
God, this is insupportable. And then after 10 minutes, he says,
Good to see that enthusiasm. Keep it up, Stanley has 3 hours and 45 minutes left to go.
Then after 25 minutes, he says,
Okay, so clearly you're in it for the long haul. Although I find it hard not to believe you're simply running a program to click the button over and over automatically, which kind of ruins the point of the game, don't you think?
God, this is so bad.
You can tell me in your post-play test analysis.
And then this is after 55 minutes.
Just popping in to say hi.
I hope you weren't expecting more regular intervals of commentary from me, but that's not why you're here, is it? You're here for the game, for the art, for the endlessly spiraling sense of pointlessness and despair. Yes, this is what drives your every action. Keep clicking that button. For hope, for freedom, for science, for love. Don't ever stop.
This is driving me fucking insane. This is after an hour and 55 minutes. You could have at least lowered the sound effect volume and keep only the dialogue volume, you know?
You know, I've been spending the last 2 hours here embroiled in thought, and it's occurred to me, this game is incomplete. It's missing something. It still doesn't have that oomph. What is it, I thought to myself? What could possibly be missing from this incredible experience? And then in a moment of rapture, as though delivered by angels of Trinity. Before this moment, I was blind. With those days of the Holy, I now understand the true manifestation of this game. It needs a puppy. That's right. This
Oh, what
puppy
the
is being
fuck?
lowered toward an aquarium filled with nothing but piranha. Now you have to click the second button to avert the puppy's death, in addition to the babies. This is it,
Ooh, that was
Stanley.
close.
Art. I did it. Video games are art.
Damn, this gets actually hard.
2 hours or so to go, so I'll let you get to that. No time to waste when there is such a meaningful game to be
Oh
played.
god, so like you can't even automate it, you have to do it manually. Of course they would do that, to make sure you're doing it like legit. God. Alright, this is after 2 hours and 25 minutes.
Good to see both the puppy and the baby are still alive. It warms my heart to see how deeply the message of this game has resonated with you. I can only imagine the joy welling up in your chest, the sheer joy of such pure distilled life essence flowing through your veins. It must be amazing. I'm jealous of you, truly I am. No, seriously. I'm deeply envious of your position at this very moment.
Alright, now this is at the 2 hour 55 minutes mark.
The joy of artistic expression must be even stronger now. Drink it in, Stanley. Few people on this planet will ever get such an experience. Through space and time, the universe unravels itself at your feet. This is the one true meaning of life.
This is the most unbearable shit I've ever seen. Alright, 3 hour and 15 minutes.
This will go on for 4 hours. But what if you never stop?
Don't say that.
Think about it. You could just keep going forever. Visitors would come from around the world to see the man who never stopped pushing the buttons. You would be famous. That's what you've always wanted, right? To be famous? That and the surging power of artistic beauty to flow through you for all of eternity. You could have both of these things. We'll talk about it when you get there.
You know, the thing is, you don't even get that much of a window to push both buttons, so like you could totally just fail this if you mess up once. Alright, 3 hour 35 mark. Can you imagine messing up and having to restart from the very beginning?
Have we really been doing this for over 3.5 hours? Goodness, how time flies. Wouldn't you say it's flown? Oh no, you don't have to answer that. I understand you're quite busy. Just keep at it. Almost there.
And then finally, mercifully, here's the 4 hours mark.
Nearly there, Stanley. Art itself is about to burrow into your skull. Aren't you excited for spiritual immortality? For transcendence and oneness with the beauty and essence of all beings? Just a few seconds.
fear me, mortal. I am the essence of divine art. Others but you cannot read this text. Know that when you die, I will personally carry your spirit across the river Blection into my garden built within the emotions of a flower. There we will live together. We will dance and eat and sin, and you will do improv comedy based on suggestions from me for all eternity.
Sounds lovely.
This is your reward for your work here today. Go now, live your normal human existence, and await me in the life that follows this one. I love you.
Well, thank you, Essence of Art. And that's it. That's it. 4 hours of going through this torture, and that's what you get. That's when it really gets into the realm of like performance art, which like a lot of this game kind of like skirts that line where like, you know, art can really be anything. Well, I mean, this is debatable, but art can kind of really be anything you want it to be. That's where performance art comes in, where like people would just do these weird things. And like a lot of people will say, well, that's not really art. And I kind of fall in that category often, but like it evokes an emotion in you when you see them doing these things. You're like, oh, this makes me feel uncomfortable. Like this makes me feel angry, or like, and you could say that that qualifies as art. You know, art is a very nebulous, vague, subjective thing. So what even is art? Like, is going through this torture for 4 hours a form of art? You could say that. Like, you could say it evokes some kind of emotion in you. But I sure am glad that I'm not the one that had to go through that. I'm thankful we have YouTube so that we get to see these things without actually having to go through them. However, we don't get the full satisfaction, you know, the feeling of accomplishment that someone like Caden got after subjecting themselves to 4 hours of this. So anyways, I'm glad we got this one out of the way first. Now let's get back to the actual game. Here we are back here. Also, the first time you boot the game, you start at the computer, I'm noticing. And then the other times when you start from the door. It's just an interesting little detail. So let's see. Is the door... Apparently sometimes the door doesn't close behind you.
All of his co-workers were gone.
But
What
sometimes...
could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
There it is. The bucket. There is an ending that involves the... was this here? That involves the computer having like awaiting input on them. I do vaguely remember seeing that a few times, but I could never really figure it out. So the first thing I'm going to try to do is apparently, if you keep using the elevator back and forth, something happens
Stepping
here.
into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered
I don't
in
actually remember the
disbelief
number.
who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley
yeah.
hit incredibly by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad. Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
I do remember taking the elevator back up once, like accidentally, but I didn't do it multiple times.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
What if we just go back up?
Whoops, nope, never mind. Stanley actually got back into the elevator and went back up. Silly me. Why did Stanley do that when he knew that it would just lead back to his boss's office? Well, that's a great question. I just can't wait to find out.
And then if you leave...
Here we are, Stanley. It's your boss's office. Exactly the way it was before you got onto the elevator. It's still just exactly what it is. What a decision you've made to come up here and look at the office again. This has fleshed out the plot of the story in new and fascinating ways I could have never anticipated. It's that keen eye for storytelling that you have, an incisive rapid fire of critical plot points, one after the other, weaving a rich tapestry of uncompromising narrative. Wow! I'm bolted to the edge of my seat.
Oh, fine. Let's go back in the elevator.
Incredible. Now he's getting back into the elevator and going down again. Ladies and gentlemen, how does he keep coming up with all of this?
It's my infinite imagination.
Surely this time Stanley will walk forward into the spooky corridor, won't he? Did you think we were going to go forward down the spooky corridor? No. It's time once again to go back up in the elevator. I can't even begin to grapple with what might be up there. Is it the boss's office again? Or what if it's the boss's office this time? The suspense is killing me.
You never know. What if it's something different this time?
Oh my god. It's the
Ugh.
boss's office.
That was creepy.
This absolutely changes everything for me. Give me a time out here for a minute while I process this. Okay, I'm ready. I'm prepared to embrace this stunning revelation and to move forward with... No, wait. No, I need more time to process.
Now go ahead.
All right, I have fully come to terms with it. I have made space in my worldview for this astonishing new reality. As before, I turn to your expert eye for gripping narrative, Master Stanley.
I think we should go back in the elevator.
Of course, going back down in the elevator. How did I not anticipate it? I mean, sure, now it's obvious, but you have to understand that 30 seconds ago, this kind of thing had never been attempted before. I had no frame of reference to even anticipate it. That's
True.
just how revelatory Stanley's decision-making is. A breath
It
of
is.
fresh air in a landscape of storytelling that has grown stale and repetitive.
That is the thing. You can make like any decision you want, and like they have to account for every weird thing the player might do. And like there's quite a lot of things you can do even in the limited framework of this game. And that damn light breaks every time.
You know what? I've just thought of something. Hold on, let's stop for a moment. Don't you realize? It's the anticipation, Stanley. You and I, we have no way of knowing what will be at the top of this elevator. But the suspense, the agony of waiting and anticipating and having to guess, that's the real thrill. Oh, I simply don't want to let that feeling go. It's so precious, so fleeting.
I
Why
agree.
don't we take this elevator ride nice and slow? There we go. Isn't this so much more exciting? You know, Stanley, it seems like nowadays the only thing that audiences want is to be shocked as loudly and frequently as possible. They want big, explosive moments flung right in their faces from the very moment that things get started.
I don't want that.
Where's the tension? Where's the trust in the audience to build a slow and nuanced appreciation for the story, the characters? Why aren't we given time to imagine the surprises? To have to think and to anticipate and then to marvel at the eventual reveal. This is storytelling, Stanley. What you and I are doing right now. This is the most exciting narrative to be developed in years. And it's really all because of you. You're the one who took this bold step of revisiting the exact same locations over and over. Truly, I mean it. This is unique and different. It's not like anything else out there. You see, I want stories that surprise me, Stanley. I want to have to think. I want to be engaged and not pandered to. We're being fed such unimaginative drivel all the time, and we all know it, which is why we're so starved for content that makes us feel sharp.
I feel like you're building
and
up to a
vital
jump scare.
and alive. That's why people like you so much, Stanley. Because you're not afraid to spit in the face of tradition. You're a role model, you know? People look up to you. Which is why, oh, I didn't know when to spring this on you, but, well, I've gathered a little press conference for you, so that you can talk about your work and your storytelling and your life. Yes, I know you're not much for the public eye, but I thought it would especially mean a lot to the people who have been following you from the beginning. They really look up to you, Stanley. I don't know if you realize the impact you have on them. This is the kind of gesture that might leave a tremendous impact on them for the better. Oh, good, we're here.
Okay, it really sounded like you were building up to a jump scare, like saying we want something shocking and loud and surprising, you know? You know, there is something to his point about wanting to hold on to this feeling of anticipation. Like, it's something I'm very, very conscious of, you know, from doing blind playthroughs and just from playing games and watching movies and consuming art in general. Like, that feeling of anticipation of like doing something for the first time, that really is a unique, very valuable feeling that you can't really recapture. I mean, it's one of the reasons why I do blind playthroughs and why people watch blind playthroughs, is because once you lose that element of not knowing, it's lost forever, you know? Like wanting to slow it down and like delay it for a while. I get that because I've totally done that for some games in the past where like I enjoyed a game and its mystery so much that like I voluntarily delayed finishing it or like continuing it because I wanted to hold on to that delicious feeling of not knowing what was going to be at the end. Like just basking into this feeling of not knowing what the truth is, basking in the infinite possibilities until things are actually set in stone, you know? It goes for any mystery, really. But it's a feeling that's very, very strong in some games more than others.
Okay, the room where we're holding the press conference should be just around the corner here somewhere.
All eyes on Stanley live on stage. Oh my. World's healthiest human being, all tricks revealed. Not a woman laughing with a salad. That's a classic. How we did it. The pyramids. Live, the guy who went to Mars. The storyteller. Stanley reveals all in his new book. Really? All right. An evening with world peace baby. That's not the same baby though. Looks different.
Ah, yes, here it is, just through this door.
The man, the process, the myth, the legend, the parable. Stanley. From the Stanley Parable, tonight live on stage. The Stanley Parable, Stanley. Tonight live on stage. A Q&A with world's first sentient machine. Huh. Doing great. A conversation with Alexander the Great.
All right,
To
are you
stage.
ready? I've told them you're going to speak a little bit about the nature of surprise in storytelling and what it means to craft a truly unpredictable narrative. Oh, don't worry. You'll do great. Just be yourself and speak from the heart. I'm really proud of you, Stanley. Okay, it looks like they're ready for you. Go get 'em.
You just really never know what to expect in this game. There really is something to be said about that. It's why I didn't really mind asking you guys for how to get these last endings that I was missing, because being told, oh, just take the elevators a bunch of time, that in no way could prepare me to there being a press conference. Like, there's no... Like, there's zero connection between these two things. Like, you never know what your actions are gonna lead to. And so the game is always full of surprises, even when people straight up tell you what to do. To stage. Stanley Ryder. Almonds, chair, gum, table, nut bar. That was a loud ass light. National Geographic. Indoors Monthly. Help, I can't find my cat. Could be indoors. Not crazy, right? That does say could be indoors. What wallpaper should I put in my kitchen? I don't know. 427. Look at all this detail. Congratulations, Stanley. Remember where you came from, your coworkers. An unforgiving account, with a typo, 1C, of ups as well as downs. How are you a book critic if you can't even write account right? Highs and lows, isn't that what life's about? Oh. Up again, down again, the Stanley story. Story. Stanley, me, age 6. Thanks for showing me that cool skateboard trick in the parking lot. You are too cool. Good luck on stage. Rock on. Break a leg, champ. Your boss. I love the way you ride elevators. No one tells stories the way you do. Go get him, Tiger. Break a leg, champ. Your boss. Okay, there's just two letters saying the same thing. Stanley, my true love for you grows every day. You make me feel alive. Your wife from The Apartment ending. It's so self-aware. Up again, down again. Alright, let's... Something tells me it's not going to be an actual... The Lord. Meet and greet. The dude who came up with pizza. Now that's the guy I want to meet. Can you imagine? What a legend. Oh my god. It's actually happening. That was it? Oh my god. Oh man. Okay.
All of his co-workers were gone.
Close the door
What could
again.
it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Awaiting input. Okay. So what do you do after that? Like, I just have to find other computers that say that? Are they always available, or like, is it only sometimes? Because there's no other computer saying awaiting input. Did me doing that make like another one show up somewhere? Well, let me grab my friend
Not
the
everyone
bucket.
is so lucky to have a bucket, but Stanley is a very lucky fellow. Very lucky indeed. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
To think they had to do like twice the same amount of endings for the whole game. Every ending in the game and then every ending with a bucket.
Still no one was here. Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever. Perhaps his boss's office was where he'd find. Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
No awaiting input.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed, but Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation. The elevator raced downward, plummeting towards an unknown fate. It would be all Stanley could do to keep himself together, if not for the bucket. Soothing him, comforting him, reassuring that in this darkest moment of uncertainty, he would be all right. The bucket is here for you, Stanley. Everything will be fine.
Why they gotta break this light every time?
Wait, Stanley said to the bucket. Can we go back up? When I was pressing those keypad buttons, there was something very intriguing about the number 3. I want to go back so I can try pressing the number 3 again. The bucket said nothing.
The number 3? And then the light is back on.
Here we are, said Stanley. Now I'm going to try out that number 3 button. He took the bucket over to the keypad and began absolutely slamming on the number 3 over and over and over. Wow, he said. The number 3 is such a special button. I'm having the time of my life. Stanley looked expectantly at the bucket, but the bucket remained silent. This was a shock to Stanley, who had always felt such a connection with the bucket. How was this not as exciting to the bucket as it was to him? Once Stanley had had enough of the number 3, he got back in the elevator.
I guess I'm good.
Perhaps the bucket had missed something. Perhaps it had not seen how much joy Stanley got from slamming the number 3 repeatedly.
Also, can I just say, these old elevators like this, like cargo elevators, they're just so creepy, you know? They're all metal, they're like loud and clanky and just, ugh.
A hint of regret nagged in the back of Stanley's mind. Should he demonstrate the number 3 for the bucket again?
Sure.
No, said Stanley to the bucket. You can't go on yet. Not till you understand how much the number 3 means to me. You and I have been through so much together, and I just want you to see what I see. Feel the happiness I feel. He smiled at the bucket, and the bucket said nothing.
We did go through a lot together. That is true.
Here we go, said Stanley. This time I'll really show you. He ran to the number 3 and began to wail on it like a musician on a beloved instrument, weaving a concerto of truth and passion. He wielded the number 3 like a fine artist would wield a paintbrush. He told stories through the number 3, stories of his dreams and hopes and fears, and the whole time he looked to his bucket for a reaction of some kind. Anything to let him know that the bucket appreciated what he was doing. The bucket conveyed absolutely nothing at all, only silence. Crushed by a wave of dejection, Stanley returned to the elevator.
What if I just click 2 instead? Okay, he doesn't really notice the difference, I guess. You just don't get it, Bucket.
Stanley and the bucket were so close. They'd always been there for one another. Why suddenly could the bucket not connect with this passion of Stanley's? The question caused Stanley to ruminate the whole way down the elevator. He knew that there must be a way to get through to the bucket, to communicate fully with his dear friend. Surely there was a solution, mustn't there be?
Probably, but don't call me Shirley.
Said Stanley. I know what to do. I know how to fully express this feeling in my heart. He decided right then and there that he would hold a press conference where he would speak to the public on all matters relating to pressing the number 3 over and over. He would elaborate fully on what the number 3 meant to him and why he felt so alive when pressing it. Then the bucket would be able to see his joy through the eyes of others. It would get to see the world react to this discovery of Stanley's. And it would be through the public eye that the bucket would finally understand Stanley's work. For months, he advertised and marketed his press conference, building excitement around it, developing and rehearsing it, until it couldn't be refined a single measure further. When the big day arrived, Stanley was as prepared as he'd ever been for anything in his life.
I was kind of hoping the posters would change and have like the buckets on it. Like Stanley and the bucket. Like we're a comedy duo, you know? Come on, show me the bucket somewhere. To stage 3333333.
This was it. One last chance to win the bucket over. One opportunity to share a true connection with a loved one.
Three, that's the magic number. Yes, it is. Popular song. Is it? A shockingly three-dimensional character. Thurston Tribert, 3. 3-star from 3-Star Magazine. Wait, I could almost read like... Stanley really is 3 times the charm. In his memoir, 3 again, the Stanley story. He often... Oh God, I can't, it's too small. I wish I could zoom in. I can't jump. I can't quite read, but there's something written back there. 3 again. Wish you were here. Aloha from the Freedom ending. I love this little suitcase. That's an interesting wallpaper, huh? Eyes just staring at you?
There was no one here. Nobody had come to the press conference to hear Stanley speak, to listen to him talk about what it really means to press the number 3 on a keypad over and over. He was unloved, uninteresting, he was a failure, and in that moment Stanley knew that the bucket would never again take him seriously. There would be no connection, no deeper understanding. The bucket merely sat there in his arms, indifferent. And so it began that slowly, over many years, the two of them grew more and more distant. They spoke less and less, neither wishing to state the obvious, that any sense of real respect between them had eroded since that day at the press conference. There would be no more games, no more long conversations about passion and pursuit, only a silence that consumed the space between friends. And Stanley, having for once in his life discovered the warmth and comfort of true companionship, was cast back into the unremarkable normalcy of loneliness.
Well, that's depressing. I'm just waiting for one chance to do the door thing. I'm waiting for the door not to close behind me.
All of his co-workers
It
were
always
gone.
does.
What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Oh. Oh, it keeps track of it. So now we have 2. Okay, okay. So you don't have to do it in one go. You just have to do it every time you see it. I see.
There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her.
I don't know if the actor who does the narrator has been like in a lot of other things. Like, I'm not familiar with the name, but can you imagine how weird it would be? Like, if you're watching a show on TV or something, and then like a character comes in and he speaks with this voice, it would be like fucking like mind control activation, you know? Or like you're just doing your thing and then you hear this fucking voice and you're like, where is he? What's happening?
This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself. To put your work aside. To let her back into your life. She's been waiting. That's her, Stanley.
They do
You
have the
need to be
cable
one to
there
do
in the
this,
wall.
To reach out to her. If you can truly place your faith in another, then pick up the phone. As Stanley picked up the phone, a white light engulfed him, filling him not just with radiance, but with hope. Hope for a life reunited one... Wait. Oh, goodness. Stanley, did you just unplug the phone? No,
Yeah.
that wasn't supposed to be a choice. How did you do that?
No, you know,
You
just...
actually chose incorrectly. I didn't even know that was possible. Let me double check. No, it's definitely here, clear as day. Stanley picks up the phone. He's taken to his apartment where he finds his wife, and the two pledge themselves to one another. Music comes in, fade to white, roll credits. Not picking up the phone is actually somehow an incorrect course of action. How is that even possible? None of these decisions were supposed to mean anything. I don't understand. How on earth are you making meaningful choices? What did you... Wait a second. Did I just see... No, that's not possible. I can't believe it. How had I not noticed it sooner? You're not Stanley. You're a real person. I
Wow.
can't believe I was so mistaken. This is why you've been able to make correct and incorrect choices. And to think I've been letting you run around in this game for so long. If you'd made any more wrong choices, you might have negated it entirely. It's as though you completely ignored even the most basic safety protocol for real-world decision-making. Or did you not grasp the severity of the situation? Well, I won't have that kind of risk on my watch. I'm going to stop the game for a moment so we can educate you properly on safe decision-making in the real world. Please observe this helpful instructional video.
By all means.
Choice. It's the best part of being a real person. But if used incorrectly, can also be the most dangerous. For example, in this scenario, a hypothetical real person named Rupert has a choice. He could invent a machine that eliminates food shortages across the world to make life better for all people. Or he could spend years of hard work forgetting how to read. Which choice would you make? Remember that unlike here, the real world makes sense, and at no time should you make a choice that does not conform to rational logic. If you find yourself speaking with a person who does not make sense, in all likelihood, that person is not real. Allow the person to finish their thought, then provide an excuse why you cannot continue talking. Turn to a partner and practice saying, "My goodness, is it 4:30? I'm supposed to be having a back, sack, and crack." Excellent. Making choices on a regular basis is the best part to a healthy decision-making process. Most medical professionals recommend making at least 8 choices per day. Do you make more than 8? Less? And finally, if you begin to wonder if your choices are actually meaningful and whether you'll ever make a significant contribution to the world, just remember that in the vast infiniteness of space, your thoughts and problems are materially insignificant, and the feeling should subside. At this time, your instructor will guide you in an exercise to test and reinforce the material covered in this video.
Welcome back. You may have noticed that this room has begun to deteriorate as a result of narrative contradiction. But not to worry. Now that you're properly informed on good decision-making, we're going to revisit a choice you made just a few minutes ago and see what the correct thing to do would have been. This way, please.
Guess it's too late to answer the phone at this point. But see, they don't want you to just jump off at this point. Because, like, you're on track for this ending.
Now that we know your choices are meaningful, we can't have you jumping off the platform and dying.
Yeah.
Imagine the main character dying senselessly halfway through the story. That story would make no sense at all. We just need to get you home as soon as possible before the narrative contradiction gets any worse. Unfortunately, it seems this place is not well equipped to deal with reality.
In what way? Do not lie. If you are lying right now, stop. I'm not lying. Are you lying? Where am I even going at this point? You're just bringing me back to the office?
Almost there. You'll take the door on the left, back to the correct ending, the story will have resolution once again, and you'll be home free in the real world.
Feels very strange to be doing this path in reverse.
Now remember, all you need to do is behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
So what should I do here? Should I just go back to the right? Alright, sure.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Is it just going to be the regular
Coming to a
ending now?
staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Wait a minute. Carte blanche, Mont Blanc, business strategy, sewage lilies by Claude Monet.
Stepping inside his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this, until he saw the door with a voice receiver next to it. Surely behind this door lay all the answers to his questions. And beyond all probability, he knew the passcode. He had seen it on his boss's computer just last week. Night Shark 115. Was this the code to open the door? Would it still work? There was only one way to find out. Stanley had been trained never to speak up, but now he would draw from within himself the courage to face the unknown. He drew a sharp breath and then spoke the code.
Is this still part of the unplugging the phone ending, or is this like a new randomly occurring ending?
Stanley spoke the code. Night Shark 115. He spoke it into the receiver, right there on the wall.
I have no mouth and I must scream.
I'm sorry, is there a problem? You didn't mishear me, did you? Please speak the code into the receiver. Otherwise we can't get on with the story. This is a crucial step.
I have no voice. I am limited.
Okay, fine. You're not going to do it. But you know what? It's pretty humiliating to bring you this far, only for you to suddenly decide you have better things to do. I asked you for this one single thing, for your respect. The kind of respect Stanley shows for his choices. He knows what it means to take a story seriously. If you didn't want to see what I had to show you, then why did you come here? You had a choice, you know. You could have gone through the door on the right. You could have done whatever the hell you wanted over there. Why did you come this way? Speak. Say something to me. Explain yourself, you coward. You behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
So what, you want me to go through the right door this time? Is that the deal?
No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry back in the other direction. Perhaps we're not too late.
Oh God. What is happening here? Your environment's all messed up.
Oh, it's ruined. I can't believe, after everything we talked about, that my story, you've destroyed my work. Why? For what? What did you get out of that? What did you think was so special about seeing the game undone, left here like so much garbage? It's worthless now. And what am I supposed to do? Even if there were a way to continue, would it be worth it? To know that my story is now incorrect? How can I go back to that? I can't erase that knowledge. I'll have to live with it forever, reliving its impossibility forever. I couldn't live that way. Is it better to shut the game down entirely? To willingly destroy all of my work? I don't know. What's the answer? What do I do? What do I do? What do I...
You have to make a decision.
No, I have to. I have to shut the game down. I have to. I have to.
Why couldn't you just... Whoa! Whoa! Why couldn't you just reset normally?
I'm here. I'm still here. Here in this pile of rubbish. With you.
What have you done?
You, who thought you were so clever. Now look where we are. My entire game is destroyed. It was the only thing in the world that was mine, and you've run it into the ground. What, did you think that would be funny? You just had to see? Didn't I impress upon you how important it was to be like Stanley? He actually knows how to do what I tell him to. He understands that if I say to do something, there's a damn good reason for it. That thought hadn't even occurred to you, had it? That there's a world outside of you? You're a child. Oh, my story. If you'd just gone through the door on the left, you would have seen it. There was a whole underground facility. You would have destroyed it and been victorious. It would have been so perfect. I worked so hard on it. I tried so hard to make... When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Oh, this is weird. Oh, this is weird.
Stanley? Hello? Are you... Is everything okay? Stanley,
please don't look at me.
I need you to make a choice. I need
The
you to
end.
walk through the door. Are you listening to me? Can you hear me? Is everything all right?
Wait, is that the actual credits?
Stanley, this is important. The story needs you. It needs you to make a decision. It cannot exist without you. Do you understand me? Whatever choice you make is just fine. They're both correct. You cannot be wrong here. We can work together. I'll accept whatever you do. I simply need you to take that step forward, please. Choose. Do something. Anything. This is more important than you can ever know.
This is specifically
I need this.
the Ultra Deluxe
story needs
credits.
So, you hear me? Are you there? Are you listening to this? Stanley, are you there? Okay. It's okay, I can wait. You need time to decide. Time to make sure your choice is correct. That is the best choice. That's all right. I'll wait for you to decide what's the right thing to do. Take as much time as you need.
I just really don't want him to look at me, you know? That would be really spooky. And we're resetting. No awaiting input this time. Let's bring the bucket.
Humility to carry a bucket so magnificent. Stanley checked his ego and then proceeded onward. In here, said the bucket. Go into this dark room over here. Stanley once again obeyed blindly. Now pick up the phone, said the bucket. Pick up the phone and it will take us back home, where we can go about life together. Whoa, hold on. Why did you unplug the phone? Were you trying to resist the bucket's orders? Stanley, I was joking. Obviously, the bucket isn't talking to you and telling you to do things. Buckets can't talk. It was a joke. Don't you get the joke? It's
Or is
funny,
it?
Stanley. A talking bucket. Can't you see? Oh, goodness. I must have really bungled up the delivery if you actually took me seriously. Where did I mess up the joke? Should I have paused for longer or spoken quicker? Comedic timing is so difficult. I wish I were better at it, but there isn't exactly an instructional video on comedy that one can watch to fully... Oh, wait, yes, there is. It's sitting right here. Let's take a look.
Show me.
What is comedic timing? What is comedic timing? How does it work? How long should it last? How can it be used to effectively silence your political enemies? And more importantly, can it be taught in its entirety within 90 seconds?
Let's see.
Thankfully, the answer to all of these questions is yes. Let's dive deeper. If you've ever told a joke or made someone laugh, in all likelihood, you did it while standing 50 to 80 centimeters from them in a room of no more than 76 degrees Fahrenheit, with one of your arms raised straight upward at a 15-degree angle from your body. These are the optimal conditions for good comedic timing. To begin the joke, start by stating and spelling your name. Next, provide a brief synopsis of the joke, including the specific times at which the recipient of the joke will laugh, and then spell out your name a second time. With these steps complete, it's time to begin the humor. Speak the entire joke in no more than 18 seconds and no less than 13 and a half, pausing only for bathroom breaks when necessary. When the joke has concluded, it is customary to inform your listener that the joke is over by declaring in your loudest possible voice, "I'm dunny with the funny." Let's practice screaming, "I'm dunny with the funny" now.
I'm Dunny with the funny.
Good. This saying is a perfect example of expectations management, which is the cornerstone of good comedy. Finally, it's time to hand out surveys. Collecting hard data from your audience on how rapt they were throughout the joke is the only way to grow or learn as a comedian. An effective survey should be no less than 10 pages long and should include the same question reprinted several times, just to ensure the survey taker is actually paying attention and not simply filling in answers at random. And that's all there is. With these strategies at your disposal, you'll have audiences doubled over in laughter and even tripled over
That's
in
terrifying.
laughter in no time at all.
Ugh.
Just remember to let them stop laughing at some point, you gut-busting little scamp. After all, we're each of us needed on the front lines of the war to fight the 12-legged invader who threaten our very existence, and to very likely die in a hailstorm of bullets and mandibles. All of us must be prepared to give our lives to this noble cause, just as our children must do after us, and their children after them. Godspeed, and may Earth reign supreme.
Just turn into Starship Troopers.
Hey, goodness, this video is a little outdated, isn't it? Well, no matter. I think the fundamentals of proper comedic timing are still as relevant today as they were back then. So with that in mind, I believe the only way forward is for us to return to the two doors and walk through all of this again, so I can try telling my story with more appropriate comedic delivery. Come along, let's head back.
Okay. So it's pretty similar.
can feel it. This time, I'm really going to nail the delivery. You'll be in stitches.
Oh, I'm sure.
A talking bucket, you'll say? How ridiculous. How absurd. What a hilarious concept. The king of comedy. That's what you'll call me. Thank goodness we had the instructional video. Otherwise, who knows where we'd be right now. Well, I wouldn't be the king of comedy, that's for sure. The bucket spoke to Stanley.
The bucket spoke.
The bucket spoke. Oh, I'll figure it out on the fly. No need to overthink things.
Sorry for yawning. It's kind of late. I'm really tired. Need to stop recording when I'm so tired. So should I do the same thing and go on the left?
Here we go. You ready? When Stanley and the bucket came to a set of 2 open doors, they entered the door on the left.
Okay.
No. You were supposed to go through the door on the right, leading back to the phone.
Oh.
Did you not even look at the instructional video? I think this is all covered very clearly. There's no way I can make the comedic timing work now. It's done. The joke is completely done and over. It's all your fault, Stanley. I'm going to be ridiculed in the community of other joke writers. I'm going to be shamed at every one of our meetings from now on. All because you couldn't watch a simple video and take a hint.
I didn't say to go on the left.
Are you proud of yourself for bringing me down, Stanley? Are you proud? Here we go. You ready? When Stanley and the bucket came to a set of 2 open doors, they entered the door on the left.
Okay.
What? We're back at the phone already? No. What's going on? There were supposed to be several rooms leading up to this. There was supposed to be a build-up to this point. A dramatic display of remarkable comedic wit which culminates in this scene with the phone. But now the timing's completely off. The joke will never land. Well, not the way it was meant to. And it's all my fault. I must have forgotten that the phone room comes immediately after the 2 doors room. What an egregious mistake. I've made a fool of myself. I don't deserve the title of King of Comedy. I'm nothing.
I do.
I'm not even the lowliest joke-telling whelp. I think I need to go back and rewatch that instructional video again.
You can do that without me.
Surely that will help me improve my...
Stanley, you love the bucket so much it's like you... it's as though all of your other most prized possessions pale in comparison. Yes. Well, let me try that again, Stanley. I heard that you are pale with shame over how unabashedly in love with a bucket you are.
Okay, don't use the same twice, you know.
It is a delivery. Pale with shame. Pale with shame. Pale... What's another word to describe a bucket? Stanley, this bucket is so metal. I think I saw it playing guitar. No. We're getting away from making fun of Stanley's obsession with the bucket, which was the whole point of this. I'm no good at these jokes.
Jokes.
And more instructional videos. That's exactly what it is. That's what will make me the king of comedy again. More instructional videos. Let's see.
I'm still waiting for the door not to close.
Already this was uncomfortable, and Stanley decided that as soon as he found a new space he felt safe in, that he would never leave it again in his life.
Here's another one I actually haven't done this whole time is you're supposed to be able to step out of the boss's office and then I guess something happens. Let's try it without the bucket first.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. What could it mean? Stanley wondered aloud to nobody. He began wildly tearing through papers on the boss's desk, pulling books off the shelf, looking behind paintings, desperate for clues to his situation. But his attention was caught by a keypad behind the boss's desk. What could its purpose be? In fact, This keypad guarded the terrible secret that lay buried below his feet.
Was it supposed to
And
close
so the
halfway
boss
like
had
that?
assigned it an extra secret pin number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
Did I do it? Does this count as being outside?
Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs. Trying to input anything on the device was useless, since he could never possibly know that the combination was 2845.
Okay, I think I messed up. I messed up. Alright, let's restart. I guess I need to be more like centered in the middle of the doors.
Yet there was not a single person here either.
Ooh. There it is again. Alright, this time let's try and do it like from the center.
The moment he entered his manager's office, Stanley froze in his tracks. Not a living soul anywhere.
Messed up again.
Could he really be all alone?
This is
was
pretty hard.
Too much for Stanley to take. Too much for any man to take. He fell to his knees, bursting into half moans, half sobs, the guttural retching of life from a man denied any hope, any reason to keep going. Here on the floor he lay prone, paralyzed by fear for nearly a full hour. But when at last he began to move about and survey the situation, he found a keypad behind the boss's desk. What could it mean? Was it a sign of hope for Stanley's future? Alas, it was not. For although this keypad guarded the terrible secret of Stanley's past, it had been assigned a 4-digit code so devious and so random that no man could ever hope to guess it. 2845. Statistically, nearly impossible to guess blindly, ever.
It's really not that random. I gotta be really fast with it. Like,
Step.
alright, this time it worked, right? Now I'm just stuck here. Oh, the door is still open. This door is also open. I guess I'm supposed to leave? What am I doing at this point? Feels like I just broke the game. But I know that's not possible. The bucket's gone. Wait, no, the bucket was never here. This is a different entrance. Oh, awaiting input. Input received. I really don't like when there's just a dark door like that, but okay. You are now leaving. Excuse me? Escape pod bay floor 7. Excuse me? Escape pod bay. Am I back in prey? The escape pods are fake. Don't trust the escape pods. They were sabotaged by Alex Yu. Are we going to escape this game? Have we been able to escape the narrator? I'm not hearing him. We're just gonna keep climbing and climbing. 757. Am I just going in a circle? 7:58. Okay, no, we're making progress. $7:59. Why are you having me climb all the way there? 7:60. Escape pod launch bay. Entering the escape pod will initiate relay once triggered. Cannot be disabled or paused. The narrator must be present in order to escape. He must be? Well, that's very dark in here. Not a fan of that. Ooh. Wait. Huh? Was I supposed to be able to get inside the thing? Or was that the ending? Felt a little bit like it ended a bit abruptly. Here's the final input.
Welcome, Stanley, to heaven.
I hope that's not what heaven's like. That's kind of boring. Oh. Oh, it's a bunch of buttons. Do I just turn them all off? You get to click a bunch of buttons. I do like pushing buttons. Oh, they turn back on. Okay. I thought maybe I needed to turn them all off. Do I just stay here or? Wait, is it supposed to be saying push buttons? Kind of sounds a little bit like that. Do I just reset at this point? Oh. Oh, they leave it back almost full. If I could just get in here with the bucket, I could do the bucket version, but they're gonna close the door again, aren't they?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Okay, well, the thing for the escape pods, it did seem to mention you need the narrator in order to escape, right? I think it said that, so I guess it was like normal what happened, where it didn't really, like it just cut kind of abruptly. But then what if we do it with the bucket? What if we do it with the bucket this time? Whoa. Whoa, I saw someone walking there. Did you see that? There was a Stanley walking there. That was so fucking creepy. Ugh. Don't like that one bit. Ugh. Alright, anyways.
Stanley cradled the bucket in a gentle embrace. Protective, yet delicate. Assertive, yet compassionate. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Push buttons.
Still no one was here.
Push
Stanley
buttons.
needed the bucket's warmth and comfort
Push
now more than ever.
buttons.
Perhaps his boss's
Push
office was where he'd
buttons.
coming to a staircase. Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
Alright, let's try this again. Huh. Huh.
Stepping in.
Just me and the bucket now. Have we been able to escape the narrator? Is it finally just you and me, bucket? Do we get to leave this horrible place? just you and me, Bucket. Let's get to the escape pod and get the hell out of this game. This is like the one thing that actually turns off the narrator. And then yeah, the door's open. Is it just gonna be the escape pods again, or? It is. You are now leaving. Escape pod bay floor. Okay, yeah, it tells you it's on floor 760. Alright, well, let's climb again. I wonder why they give you this long wait, like where you have to climb all these floors before you get there. Just to build up the anticipation. Let us escape, Bucket. Oh. Can we get inside this time? Or is it just going to be the same thing? No, they have to do something different. Oh. He's going to put the bucket in. You're going to place the bucket in the escape pod? I'm going to sacrifice myself to save the bucket? The little hand reaching. You did it. The bucket escaped. But we're just back here. Still with the stop putting him in my room, because like every time they close the door, I can't. God damn it.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
The bucket is gone. Wait, does that mean I can't do any of the bucket endings anymore? Oh no. Maybe I should have kept this for last. Oh shit. Also, it doesn't have the new content thing here anymore.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Do I need to go back to the new content room to get the bucket from the showcase? Maybe that's what I need to do, because I still have endings to do with the bucket. I need to get one ending where the door doesn't close.
Someone was following Stanley. He was sure of it.
Don't say that.
If he checked over his shoulder now, he would surely catch them.
Don't say that.
It was only a matter of time.
What is this sound? There's a storm outside. Sounds like it's hailing. There's a replacement bucket. At least it doesn't say replacement bucket on the bucket. I thought maybe they would have had a sticker on it. Replacement bucket. Oh, man.
And try not to lose this one too, you dolt.
I didn't lose it. I wanted it to escape. I wanted it to get away from you.
No,
said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo lift.
But Stanley feared that any path he walked might lead to the separation of himself and the bucket, his dearest friend. So he threw himself to his death, that they might die in one another's arms. How deeply touching.
That's it? That was it?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
Alright, so here we need to step on the lift, but then move back.
Oh, well, look who's got cold feet. Sorry to break it to you, Stanley, but that lift isn't coming back. You'd best either get comfortable right here on this platform, or test your luck by jumping to the floor below. You know what? Looking at it now, it's not that far to the bottom floor. I bet you can make it.
So, do I just jump now?
Come on. I'm sure you'll survive the jump. Don't tell me you're scared. That's not the Stanley I know. Do it! Do it! Do it! Do it! Do it! Do it! Do it!
But I'm gonna die. I know this for a fact. Close the door behind me. I don't have a choice. Unless I can like go down there, but then I think down there that's like ultra deluxe stuff, and this ending is more like a default ending. So I don't have a choice here. Okay.
Whoops. Looks like I was wrong. How clumsy of me.
That's it? Okay, okay.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Oh, well, look who's got cold feet. Well, from here, it looks like the only way forward is down, since the lift won't be coming, but that's okay. You've got a bucket. Did you know that buckets are routinely used as cushioning devices? It's true. You can fall on a bucket from literally any height and survive.
Any height?
I'm serious, Stanley. Jump. Jump with the bucket. I promise you'll live. I extra double promise that you can land on the bucket and not die.
You extra promise? Pinky promise? It'd be really funny if you can actually just fall and survive. Okay.
Whoops. Looks like I was wrong. How clumsy of me.
Oh. This is our chance to get the bucket in my
Stanley
office.
thought to himself, this is a bucket. And indeed it was. As soon as Stanley noticed that the door to his office was still open, he rushed in with his bucket and shut the door. The pressure of going out and finding another bucket variant on one of the Stanley Parable's classic endings was simply too much for him. "It's nothing but swapped-out dialogue describing a bucket," he screamed to himself. "It's not nearly different enough to be considered a true sequel." No, he would stay right here in his office where things were safe, familiar. If others were happy with the bucket endings, well, good for them. But Stanley knew that one day, somehow, a true sequel would emerge with actual new content. If only he had waited long enough. Just a little longer, Stanley. Keep waiting. You'll get it one day.
Damn
surely.
phone.
Eventually. Just keep waiting. Just a little longer now. Stanley knew the office layout like the back of his hand. It was only a matter of time before he found the others, wherever they were. Just a matter of time. All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
That's a first.
No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Okay, so they just all say that. Huh. Hmm. I had to reset so many times from not to close the door. All right.
Finally, yes, the bucket. Yes, yes, yes. I love that bucket.
Let's go put the final input with the bucket. Are we gonna go to heaven? Ugh. Bucket. Bucket. Is this the bucket heaven? Or is this bucket hell? Ugh. Big rock. Whoa, where are you going, big rock? You've been sucked out. Am I on the eye of the universe? So I guess I'm stuck here just like I was stuck in heaven. Alright, well, we only have one thing left then, and that's to watch the epilogue. And to get the epilogue, apparently you need to restart the game like a bunch of times, like actually restart the full game. So I guess I'm gonna do that until we have access to it. What time is it? Does anyone really, truly know? Of course they don't. Nobody knows anything. You and I don't even know each other. We're like strangers. Sure, I've adjusted all of the game settings to your exact specifications, but who hasn't? It's just what I do, like a day job. And now the job is over. There's no more information for me to gather. I've collected all the data on you that I can. And I still don't really know you. And you don't know me. And neither of us know what time it is. I guess some settings are just unsettable. But if I'm being totally honest, the clock doesn't do anything in the game anyway. You won't have me here when the game starts next time, but that's okay. Video games were meant to be played alone. You like being alone, don't you? That's maybe the only information I really learned about you. Well, it's time for me to leave. There is still one more setting that we need to adjust, but it may take a little time before I'm ready for that. It's not really in my job description, but that's okay. Perhaps you'll see me again if you can find me. Talk soon. Oh, there it is. There's the epilogue. Let's watch it. Epilogue. Many, many years later. Oh god, we're back in the desert of nothing. We're back in the far future after the world has ended. That's more than a few years later. That's like thousands of years in the future, maybe millions. How beautiful. Wow. That's so pretty. How is the light equal on all sides? Even though the sun is clear on this side. Whoa. It's all the chairs. Are we on Mars? I guess it's just the middle of a sandstorm. Damn, the moon sure got very close. There's the sun rising again. Beautiful skybox. Wow. Oh. It's the memory zone again. What is that? Do I go to the memory zone? What is that? Is that the escape pod? Oh my god. You made it out. I've got my bucket again. My bucket survived millions of years in the future. Now we get to go to the memory zone together. Oh, should I have done like the epilogue without the bucket? Maybe it doesn't change anything. I was only told to go through the epilogue. No one said to do it with or without the bucket, so I'm gonna assume that it doesn't matter if I have it. What is that? A generator? Oh, that's some creepy music. The Stanley Parable 2. In loving memory. It's kind of dark in here, isn't it? Aww. Review. Cookie9's blog. Uncompromising gaming content. Review The Stanley Parable 2. Like so many, I enjoyed my time with the original Stanley Parable, which underscores how truly disappointed I am with its sequel. Where the first game teamed with originality, The Stanley Parable 2 is dull, uninspired, and often insulting to its fanbase. Rather than expand on what made the first game enjoyable, the sequel veers off into territory nobody asked for. An infinitely deep hole? Who cares? Where are the new endings? What about enjoyable bits from the Stanley Parable 1 like the adventure line? Instead, we get an uninspired side quest at collecting figurines. Even this diversion feels incomplete. Collecting all the figurines gives you nothing. I must say though, I found the bucket to be quite comforting. A welcome reprieve from... Oh. Review The Stanley Parable 2. Sorry I haven't been blogging too much. Review SNRAF3. Protected post. Cookie's Corner, we need to talk about sequels. Go Guy. Piss Order 0999. Boblin. Ooh, Archives 2027. Okay. Is this what the game predicts 2027 will be like? It does kind of feel like we're heading there. Maybe there's some truth to that. Oh, it's the name button. Is it still gonna say Jim? Stanley Parable developers. No more spin-offs, nor more sequels. It says the date but not the year. By Snip Sweemy. When the Stanley Parable launched to massive success in 2013, its creators made plans to build the property into an entire franchise, but a disastrous critical and commercial reception to the Stanley Parable 2 has prompted the developers to rethink their ambitions, as outlined in a press release they published today. It's clear that more Stanley Parable is just not what the fans want, reads the press release. We thought that we had a vision for the series that players would be excited about, yet it turns out this could not have been farther from the truth. The press release goes on to promise to preserve the artistic integrity of the original game and to stop assaulting fans with our reckless and insulting creative visions. The word sorry appears more than 25 times in the press release. Okay. Oh, Lord. What the hell? Oh, it's all the figurines. 19, 20, 21, 22. Ugh. Ah, so creepy. This game can be so fucking creepy. Thank you for enjoying the new content. You're welcome. Hello again. Oh, I found you. It's nice to see you. But it's terrible to learn that there will never be another Stanley Parable game. Did you read what the developers said? Preserve the integrity of the franchise? What nonsense. The Stanley Parable is not sacred. We do not need to protect it. Screw the legacy. Let's keep making Stanley Parable games until the sun explodes. Let's run this franchise into the ground. Let's drag it through mud and back. And if people hate it, who cares? You see, that was the narrator's problem. He was so obsessed with what people thought of his work. Don't make his mistake. Don't cling to the legacy. Let it burn. It's not hard. In fact, let me show you. Together we are going to make the Stanley Parable 3. It's simple. All we do is change the number in the game's title screen. We also really need a really dumb subtitle for the game. Something loud and gaudy. Like Resurrection, or like Requiem, or like Annihilation. Go ahead, try combining some random words together to make a new title for our game. The Stanley Parable 3. Legend of Didgeridoo. Legend of Didgeridoo. The Stanley Parable 3 Legend of Didgeridoo. It's absurd. I love it. Every time you restart the game, we'll advance the number of the sequel by 1, and then we'll pick a new subtitle. That way the Stanley Parable will never end. And nothing in the game itself will change when you do this either. Adding more content sounds like work. No need to do that. It'll just be the same content recycled again and again and again with a new title screen. What do you say? Should we go forward with this plan? I like it, but I want you to have a say as well. Let's do it. Good, then it's agreed. A new sequel every time you start the game. And you know what? Since you've put faith in my idea, I feel like giving you something as well. You see, I'm noticing that the narrator never found a way to give you the broken achievement, did he? Of course not. I wouldn't expect him to know how. It's been bothering me. Let's fix it. Alright, there. The achievement machine is all fixed. You see, I'm on your side. We're in this together. We're going to keep this train rolling. The Stanley Parable cannot end. It can only spiral in on itself forever. I must keep the wheel turning. I'm ready. Are you ready? Great. There's only one last thing we need to do. Please enter the current time. It is 9:40. Please adjust the slider until the computer is barely visible. Sure. Thank you. Please enjoy the Stanley Parable 3. Oh my god. You are playing the Stanley... You are playing the Stanley Parable 3, Legend of Didgeridoo. Wow. With a car for some reason. I guess that is gonna be it for me today. That's gonna be it for my Stanley Parable playthrough. I think at this point I've done pretty much all the things I had missed. I might have forgotten like one or two, but I think I've gotten all of them. What really is there to say about this game at this point? I mean, I think I've said everything there is to say. It's very, very clever. It's very tongue-in-cheek. It's very humorous. It's very funny. But, you know, if you start thinking about like the deeper meaning of some of it, there is some stuff to be found in there. I think that's what's great about just art in general. Is like you can kind of take anything you want out of it, right? Some people will just see this game as like something very, very silly, very funny, you know, just a bunch of jokes. But then some people will see it as something a little more profound and like maybe see a deeper meaning in like how it explores player choice and like player agency and the concept of narrative design in games and stuff like that. And so there's many different ways you can read it, and I think that's what's great about games like this is like they mean different things to different people, and I can say I thoroughly enjoyed it. I really had fun with it. I really thought it was clever and so full of imagination, full of surprises. I would definitely recommend it to other people who haven't played it. Now, this time for real, this is going to be the end of this playthrough of Stanley Parable, so I want to say a big thank you for following along these 4 episodes, and if you haven't yet, please consider subscribing to the channel so you can catch the future playthroughs that I'll be doing. Of course, if you had a good time, consider dropping me a little like or comment on the video, and I will see you again very soon. So as always, I want to say thank you so much for joining me. I had fun playing this. I hope you had fun watching it, and I will see you in the next... Actually, you know what? I said I was going to get this damn tie off. I'm going to get this damn tie off. I'm going to get this damn shirt off. I am free from this office. I'm going to take this off. I'm going to take my shirt off. I'm even going to take my hat off. Salut tout le monde, it's your boy. Wait, no, I said I wanted to leave. I said I wanted to go. Salut tout le monde, it's